Hello, Hugh Grant fans, and welcome to Hugh's News, a Taking Hugh for Granted bonus podcast. Hugh's News aims to keep you right up to date with everything Hugh Grant, from an announcement he's signed on to a new project, right down to him doing a particularly saucy tweet. If it's big Hugh Grant news, we want you to know about it. We've got a whole host of big news for you today. Hugh Grant has signed up to do a new movie, a new TV series, and we have a new development for you on some of his existing projects as well. I'm Digger Waite, and to discuss all of this in juicy detail, my fellow Horse and Hound correspondent Oscar Bimmelgray. Oscar, how the bloody hell are you doing today, mate?
I'm doing very well, Diggs, and it truly has been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while. It's been a while, my friend. How are you?
I'm very well, yeah. Just enjoying the summer, enjoying a bit of time off from the pod, but also missing it so much.
Greatly. But I suppose we thought, we came, we saw, and we conquered.
Yeah, we did.
We did the main movies. We did a few of his little TV shows here on the side. But we thought, you know what? Let's crack back. Let's have a little break. This is like when Hugh Grant took his little break around the 2010 time. It feels a little bit like that. You got to
leave the fans wanting more, don't you?
Exactly. And then we'll return for I don't know. This is basically our Florence Foster Jenkins. It's like a little return, I think. And you know what? Yes. It's going well so far. We're loving it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But I mean, you couldn't come back for a bigger episode to discuss just a huge amount of news. I mean, I'm so staggered.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like we've just been punched in the face several times with huge news for Hugh Grant. I mean, let's talk first. Obviously, there's this professional context, but at the moment, as we record this, there's all sorts going on in UK politics, and we know that Hugh Grant loves his UK politics. And the other day, loads of government ministers were resigning in protest of Boris Johnson, and there was all this press outside, and there's this activist and protester called Steve Bray, who's there all the time. And whilst the law means he can't yell or chant anymore, which, by the way, is complete bullshit, he can play music. So Hugh Grant tweeted Steve that morning, at which point there had been 59 resignations. So proper merry-go-round stuff at number 10. And I asked him to play the Benny Hill soundtrack. This is what we heard go out live on Sky News as they were reporting from Westminster, and some poor Conservative MP was trying to give an interview.
Do you accept that Boris Johnson can carry on as a caretaker leader until the autumn, or do you think that he does actually need to step aside and let someone else do that?
Well, I think there are a couple of things. Firstly, we need to make sure that we keep the basic functions of government going. That's really important. There are, for example, no ministers in DfE at the moment. That needs to be sorted out. Secondly, I think we need to try and select a new leader as quickly as we reasonably can. And obviously, we need to make sure we make the correct choice, but we should do it in a reasonably quick time. In terms of Boris staying on,
62,000 likes, over 5,000 retweets, and just wonderful stuff. And speaking of Twitter, and shout out to Megan Johnson, friend of the pod, Megan Johnson, who tagged Hugh Grant in a tweet about the whole rigmarole. And
I love actually related tweets.
I love actually read tweet. I mean, those of you following this will understand this. It says Nadine Dorries looking at pickies of Boris's new cabinet tomorrow, and it's Keira Knightley going, "They're all of me." Now, Megan sent this to Hugh Grant, who did understand what that was about, and he retweeted the tweet.
Legendary.
Legendary.
I mean, my initial reaction, Diggs, was, Megan, like, props to you. We love you. Like, that is amazing. Yeah. But we've been trying a long time to get a retweet off the man, and he's ignored us every single time. Yeah. So a little bit of jealousy is just sneaking in there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm the colour green. I am envious as hell. I'm very, very jealous. But listen, we've got to back our friends when they're doing well. But that's what's going on there. And obviously, because of it's so time sensitive, by the time you might be listening to this, he might be gone. Boris Johnson might have been sacked as PM. So we probably shouldn't spend too long on that. But obviously, that is definitely where Hugh Grant's head is at the moment. He'll definitely be loving all of that. But otherwise, Oscar, we might as well get straight into it. What is some of this big Hugh Grant news?
So the big news, Diggs, is that Hugh Grant has signed on to do 2 more new projects, which is incredibly exciting. So there's 2. There's this Netflix TV series called Kaos, where he is going to be playing the god Zeus.
Yes, King of Gods.
Put that on hold for one sec. And then we've got a new movie also on Netflix called Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart Story, which also just sounds completely ridiculous. It sounds to me like both of these are just perfect casting for him. Like comedy, lighthearted, probably taking the piss out of himself, certainly in the case of Kaos. And I think that's where I want to start, Dig. Let's discuss a little bit about what we know about this TV series and your initial thoughts when you heard the news.
So it's a modern day contemporary retelling of Greek mythology, listed as a comedy, drama, and fantasy. And obviously, like you say, Hugh Grant plays Zeus. And like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Greek mythology and all that sort of stuff. There was a game called Age of Mythology. Yeah, have you ever played that? Age of Empires had a game called Age of Mythology, which is all about it was like Age of Empires and soldiers and stuff, but you could fight mythical creatures. So I loved all that stuff. And so Zeus is an endless badass. I have to be honest, though, a modern-day contemporary retelling of Greek mythology. I'll tell you why I feel a little bit not so great about it. Grant is set to portray the seemingly all-powerful yet desperately insecure and vengeful Zeus, who has long enjoyed his status as king of the gods. That is until he wakes up one morning and discovers a wrinkle on his forehead. Neuroses sets in, setting him off on a dangerous paranoid path. Zeus becomes convinced his fall is coming and starts to see signs of it everywhere. Now, I'm not going to lie, this worries me massively. Because to me, this sounds fucking shit. But I'd be interested to hear what you think of this.
I'm just trying to go along with the ride, Diggs, and I don't need your negative energy. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if you read it like that, yes, there is a little bit of me being like, how is this going to work? Like, how are we going to have Zeus portrayed by Hugh Grant, who, I was reading through the Wikipedia page of Zeus just because I'm not up on Greek mythology as much as you. He's described as someone who has three poses: striding forward with a thunderbolt leveled in his right hand, or seated in majesty. Now, some of those I could imagine Hugh Grant do, but I imagine Zeus to be this ripped kind of 25-year-old, not someone in his 60s. So yes, I'm very interested to see how they do this creatively. And I think the idea is that it's not meant to be too serious, because the director said that, she's quoted talking about Hugh Grant. She said, "I believe I'm still in shock at the news that Hugh Grant has agreed to play Zeus. This was my dream. He's leading a stupendous cast of actors, and we're extremely honored to have them all on board. I can't wait for filming to begin." So this sounds like she's thought about this role with Hugh Grant in mind. So if that's the case, I have faith that it could be pulled off, but who knows what this is going to entail.
Definitely. I think, that's a really great quote to read out, because he's leading a stupendous cast of actors, and Zeus is the king of the gods. And so all these other gods, you've got David Thewlis, who plays Hades, who's Zeus's brother, who's like the king of the underworld and all that sort of stuff. Poseidon's there. Janet McTeer from Ozark is Hera, the wife of Zeus. So he will. It would make sense if you're doing Greek mythology. The main one, most stories are about, and also the king of the gods, is Zeus. So it feels like Hugh Grant is going to be the lead of this thing, which is very exciting as well. Obviously, we saw him lead in The Undoing. I suppose he led alongside What's Her Chops, frizzy hair, Nicole Kidman. That's the frizzy hair. That's what I went for. Fine.
Yeah, I was like, who?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure. But I think that's what gets me excited about this. And like you say, the writer, Charlie Covell, have you seen The End of the Fucking World?
No, I haven't.
Honestly, so I've come in guns blazing being like, listen, a contemporary retelling of Greek mythology sounds rubbish. They're swapping togas for track pants, apparently, and it's sort of going to be like modern day, all that sort of stuff. That sounds to me like a recipe for some wanky bullshit. But what I will say is, Charlie Covell wrote End of the Fucking World. I would recommend everyone go and watch that. The writing in that TV show, the vibe a bit, it seems like what this easily could be, because Greek, that TV show I think is about a girl who runs away from her family, a boy who's also on the run, like goes with her on the run. She falls in love with the boy, but the boy is a closeted serial killer. So it's that whole thing of like they're on the run together, but like she doesn't realize she's fallen in love with an absolute monster. And this kid is a complete loner, the kind of guy that will go and shit up a school. It seems like a mental premise, but it's so funny, it's so dark, it's all that sort of stuff. And if this is dark and like that, and anything like that, which I guess it will be, then this will be great. So this could either be really, really good or really, really bad. And the more I read about it, the more I think, actually, my initial reaction could be wrong. This could be absolutely brilliant.
I want to talk about two other things, Diggs. Firstly, let's talk when this is going to be released, production dates. And secondly, we got to talk about the fact that Hugh's back on the small screen. Like, you know, he seems to have transitioned. Like the lure of Netflix and the streaming platforms has reined him in.
Exactly. Well, I probably think the money's, I mean, not to be well, I say the money's too good now, but I mean that for everyone across the board. I think the small screen now, there's just as much money as there is now in films, and also that means all the talent are going there. So, like, and you know, I don't know if you're watching at the moment, Stranger Things, like. The last episode of this series is like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. That's a feature film. And it's got so much backing behind it, and it's brilliantly written. It's really well done, all that sort of stuff. So really, like, the small and big screen are becoming more and more blurred. And so it's good to see him back. But he never, even when he did The Undoing, I remember definitely when he did the A Very English Scandal, he said, it felt like it was only 3 episodes. It was a great director, and it felt like 3 movies almost. It almost felt like 3 episodes. It's just a 3-hour movie. Whereas The Undoing, he couldn't really hide behind that as much. And I feel like now, I think this one's meant to be even longer, like 8 episodes or something. And I feel like, it's exciting to see him back on the small screen, because then you just get more delicious Hugh Grant. That's what we want, more of him. What do you reckon about it?
I think I completely agree. We're seeing the money flood into the streaming platforms, and I guess we're never going to see Hugh Grant do, you know, a 24 episode sitcom, are we? But he's definitely someone who can be signed on, I think, now for these kind of 8 episode series, which is what this is meant to be billed as. And I believe that production is beginning later this summer. So this could be maybe an end of 2023 kind of scenario. I mean, there's a lot coming out soon involving Hugh. And it's just, who would have thought that he'd be this active? He just seems to be getting the pen out and, signing on the dotted line for almost everything that comes his way. I mean, probably not. I'm sure he's getting a whole host of offers, but he's obviously, he's a sought after man.
Exactly. I feel like this is a risk as well. It's another risk where you think
it is a risk.
Like I say, I read this and I go, this could be bad. And I think you read that about a lot of these things, these projects he's taken up. I think to myself, this could be bad. But it also excites me more than anything else, because I'm like, these are the sorts of risks I think he needs to take. Even though I don't think anyone would have seen Paddington 1 and thought Paddington 2 would have been bad. But I think maybe if you'd said Hugh Grant's going to play this bombastic, flamboyant villain, I think people would have gone,
well, look, he could be sitting in his nice flat, in his nice villa, in his nice house somewhere, putting his feet up and doing nothing. But he's not only still acting, he's actually, taking on roles that are a risk to his reputation. And you got to respect that.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Well, you're listening to Hugh Grant taking Hugh for granted on the radio. Hugh Grant taking Hugh for granted. Oh, the podcast show.
If there's not anything else you want to say on this, then maybe we could move on to the other risk we're going to talk about.
Of course.
Which is Unfrosted, which, speaking of production dates, is currently filming in LA. Set in Michigan in 1963, business rivals Kellogg's and Post compete to create a cake that would change breakfast forever. Any thoughts or opinions on this so far?
I mean, my initial thoughts is that it sounds like a random movie, but could be one of those really endearing storylines that you watch and kind of are just drawn to because it's got like fun characters, a lighthearted storyline, a bit of escapism. That's what I hope it will be. It could be just a really bland story about cereal, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that wondered whether it would be like, have you seen The Founder with Michael Keaton?
You know what? That just actually sprung to my mind as I was just talking just now.
Yeah.
I have seen that film and I really like that film. It's for those who haven't watched it, it's the story about the origins of McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you think about that and you think, oh, I'm not sure that's up my street, but it is actually a really well thought out storyline and quite compelling. But so I agree that there definitely could be some overlap here.
Well, I mean, it could be like that. And that's why when I first saw this, I was like, oh, maybe, are they going to go? Because that is quite a serious story of basically, Michael Keaton's character just fucking over the original McDonald's brothers and all that sort of stuff. And that whole empire being grown. It was a serious film. And I thought, well, maybe this could be one of those things that, like, yes, it's Kellogg's and Post, whoever Post is. That might be some American cereal brand I've never heard of. But, like, it could actually be weirdly like quite a serious film that could be quite compelling,
like almost like a Florence Foster Jenkins or something like that.
Again, I was thinking that as well. I was like, it could be in that vibe,
1960s.
Yeah, exactly. That whole thing, and I was wondering, okay, maybe Hugh Grant could play Post. I'm guessing that Kellogg's would be the hero, but he could play whoever this Post person was or whoever like heads up Post, but. It's the directorial debut of Jerry Seinfeld, and that makes me think that this is going to be a silly Billy film.
Yes.
So it sounds like a silly premise, and I actually think they're going to double down on that. And I think this will probably be closer to an Adam Sandler film than The Founder.
Well, yeah. I mean, with people like Amy Schumer cast, you sort of think it's only going one way. It's not. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a period drama. But sort of set in 1963 Michigan. I also, what was that about? Like,
I know, with the pinstripe suits and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it is all about Pop-Tarts. Now, one of the things that I've got to say as well is it actually comes, or everyone's been drawing the comparisons to, because Jerry Seinfeld had a part in one of his stand-up sets about Pop-Tarts. So everyone's probably wondering that's where this all came from.
The Pop-Tart, by the way, was a moment in time. I was about 8. They invented the Pop-Tart. The back of my head blew right off. Right? Do you remember? Like, what? I was in the supermarket aisle with my mother, and I'm like, hold up, hold everything. The hell is that? And you open the packet. How many were in the packet? 2. Why 2? 1's not enough. 3 is too many. That's why. It was perfect. Perfect vision of the future from Kellogg's. 2 in each packet, 2 slots in the toaster. So you're 8 years old and you're like, I can do this. The toaster companies are in on it too.
He's also teaming up with Spike Feresten, who co-wrote Seinfeld with him, and Barry Marder, who wrote the Bee Movie, along with Spike Feresten. So again, when you look at the writing chops of the people he's writing it with, they both wrote their biggest thing, except for Seinfeld, their biggest credit is the Bee Movie.
Mate, don't slag off the Bee Movie.
Hey, I'm not. Hey. I'm just saying that the Bee Movie is a different vibe to The Founder, and I think we're going to get something more in line with the Bee Movie, which, listen, is no issue for me. It's just a shame that we're not really sure who Hugh Grant is playing as of yet, or anyone, to be honest.
No, we just have a cast and we sort of have a 2-line synopsis and that's about it. But
although I did see this, apparently the other day, well, I say apparently, I've seen the photos. We're not sure who Hugh Grant is playing yet, but pictures have emerged of him on set in Los Angeles. It's a funeral scene in which he was dressed as Tony the Tiger. He was joined by other mascots, including Cornelius, the green rooster from Kellogg's Cornflakes, the Quaker Oats man, who appeared to be played by comedian Andy Daly, and in the background was Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
This can't be real.
Trust me, bro. I've seen the photos. I'll send you the link. I've seen the photos.
Send me those photos. If Hugh Grant is playing the tiger from Frosties. Like, please,
They're great.
Have a day off. Like, oh my God, that is amazing.
He's honestly, he's in a huge Tony the Tiger outfit, and obviously they're snapping pictures of him with the helmet off because he's wearing this big helmet, but he's got the red sort of sash around the handkerchief around his neck, sort of thing. What do you call it? The bandana or whatever, or around his neck. So I think the neckerchief. I think it's the real deal. He's there on set, and Jerry Seinfeld's there. Like, I think this is it. So,
do you think this is like an action movie where everyone's dressed up as just different cereals,
and they're beating the hell out of each other?
Yeah.
Again, Unfrosted. So I imagine Unfrosted also, because if that's filming at the moment, that'll probably be out next year. And again, so 2023 for Hugh Grant fans is shaping up to be a fat year.
It is. Yeah.
We've got lots of stuff to look forward to there. I mean, any closing thoughts on that, or should we move on to more Hugh Grant news, which there is more?
Let's leave that. Let's park that one. I think that I think undoubtedly there's going to be another episode down the line about Unfrosted. I think there's a lot of developments to come on that one. So let's talk Operation Fortune. And you've been investigating, haven't you?
I have indeed. I've kept my ear close to the ground. So if people don't know, we'll be quick with this. Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre. This is the latest in a string of films that Hugh Grant has now done with Guy Ritchie. It stars Jason Statham and people like that. Hugh Grant, there's an advert out for it. So I'll run you through the timeline. In December, we got a poster and a trailer. In the trailer, Hugh Grant featured heavily. He's meant to be the villain. In January was meant to be the release date. It then got pushed back to March, and then it was just pulled entirely. And we've speculated a few times in this podcast as to why that was. People were saying, they were scared of the Batman movie, and they were trying to release it when it wasn't around then. Other people were saying that they wanted to sell it to a streamer because maybe they weren't sure it wasn't going to get a big theatrical release. But multiple sources, including the Evening Standard in the UK, have said that the film has been delayed due to the fact that some of the villains in the film are Ukrainian gangsters, and now they're having to edit them out. So it might be need some reshoots, but a source close to the film said, to be clear, there are many bad guys in the film. The antagonists come from all over the world, but out of sensitivity to the ongoing war in Ukraine, it is decided that some of these should no longer be identified as Ukrainian. So yeah, it was around January when troops started to amass, and they thought, okay, it fits with the timeline. They were like, okay, we'll push the film back to March. By March, I think, or on February, they invaded. So by March, the distributors STX thought, we'll pull it. I mean, as I say, that's uncorroborated, although multiple sources have said that. Mm-hmm. So quite, as bleak as that is, quite an interesting update.
That is a very interesting update. And I guess good foresight from the people in charge there, because
Operation Foresight.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, they could have just released it, I guess, in January, and that would have been egg on their face. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is. I didn't think about that. That's a really good point. Everyone would have laughed at it and been like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know enough about these things for how long, whether, because also, they could be like, it wasn't really a major part of the film, but then they reference Ukrainian gangsters like 100 times, and they have to go back and edit everything out. It might actually take a while. So that remains to be seen. I mean, let's hope that they get that issue sorted, and I think the right decision as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, like I say, in the future we can go back to having, I'm sure, gangsters of all nationalities, but just at the moment, maybe, it's just, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. But I don't know. I mean, it might be the kind of thing that you can just edit the gangsters out of the film, but then if they reference the fact they're Ukrainian, they might have to then cut away for them, get them to do ADR. They record their voices saying something separate, so then you can sort of cut away from them whilst they're speaking, so they don't show their mouth, so it sounds like they're still speaking in the scene, but they're not. It could take a while. They might even have to do some reshoots, entirely. They might have to reshoot some scenes or shoot scenes to basically tie things together. We've had to cut these people out. So it could take a while. So we'll have to see. But either way, an absolute nightmare for those guys. Last but not least, we might as well give a mention to Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves and Wonka. of which Wonka, he is still only rumoured to be a Oompa Loompa. But I think those are both due to come out in 2023. A teaser trailer is out, obviously, for Dungeons & Dragons. That's meant to be in March 2023. Dungeons & Dragons hot property right now is in Stranger Things coming out at the moment. Everyone's talking about it still. But those are the updates with those upcoming things as well, all going to plan there. Although, as I say, Wonka, he's still not confirmed, but I think he is confirmed though, but really, because he was spotted in that shoot with Chalamet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
let's be honest, Hugh and that bloke aren't just hanging out for fun in Oxford, are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Timothy Chalamet calls up Hugh Grant's like, mate, do you want to go for a quick coffee in Oxford?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Should we just meet up on the set of the film that I'm on? No, I don't think that's going to happen. No. So that is going to. But again, so it's got a good, nice place to talk about. Actually, you think he's going to play an Oompa Loompa? He's going to play Tony the Tiger in this Kellogg's film. He's going to play Zeus, but in modern day. Like, the man's gone insane.
He's off his rocker.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's doing his absolute best. 2023 is the year of, I think, the Hugh Naissance era ends, where he will have completed he's completed it. Like, I think after that, no one will say Hugh Grant, the rom-com guy. They will say Hugh Grant, that incredible actor who played Tony the Tiger and Oompa Loompa and Zeus.
No, he's going for the knighthood, and he's going for the state funeral.
Exactly. State funeral with Tony the Tiger, Snap, Crackle and Pop all in attendance, and the Quaking Oak Man, or whatever the fuck he is.
There's so many good serial characters, actually, when you think about it.
There are. I'm trying to think.
Obviously, the Cocoa Pop person.
They've got to get the Cocoa Pop, the little
monkey,
ape monkey thing, yeah. Also, who else have they got? There must be more. I'm thinking of the Lucky Charms guy. They've all got mascots. They're like bloody football teams.
Yeah. I don't think Shreddies or Weetabix have one though.
Nah.
They're too boring.
Yeah, Cornflakes have got that big rooster. Actually, they've mentioned that.
Yeah, the green rooster thing.
Yeah. Well, what else have we got? Any more? There must be others. Otherwise, ours are just a bit boring, aren't they? Like Weetos, they just had like a big.
Here they've got Fruit Loops that have the they have
the sort of pelican
thing.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be class. I'd be that one.
Yeah, that one is sick. I think I would be Tony the Tiger.
Imagine if we went to like outside the premiere of that film all dressed as Tony the Tiger. I think he might get a restraining order at that point.
I think so. I'm sure he's already tried it. That's when we'll finally get a tweet from him, when it's a tweet saying, "You've had your restraining order, now fuck off." That'd be good. Well, bloody hell, it feels like we've come to the end of the episode.
It's been incredibly enjoyable though, mate.
Yeah, what great fun. I mean, so much to talk about, so much fun to be had. Bring on I don't want to wish time away, but bring on 2023 at this point.
I know.
I just want to see all this shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anyone else hears any news out there, because we actually get like a lot of tips from our fans, and
we do.
Keep it coming, because as we alluded to before, we've sort of run out of Hugh Grant content to release episodes for, so we're sort of stuck on the Hughes news for now. But we're very happy to come back for as many Hughes news appointments as possible.
Absolutely. As many issues as you guys need, we'll slap them on the table. And as I say, I think, eventually there will be another, our epic retrospective now. I'm wondering whether...
Like, does that become like something we do in 2025?
Yeah, because there's stuff on the list at the moment that like maybe shouldn't be there. But now that we know that films like Dungeons and Dragons are coming out, obviously Operation Fortune, potentially Wonka, these other two things, you sort of think, well, maybe we hold off until they've all come out and then push them out. But we can't wait any longer. No. We can't, can we?
No.
So I reckon whatever comes out next, we'll watch it, and then bang, we're going to give you his top 50 of all time. And that's very exciting.
Very exciting.
All right, that's our promise. That's our pledge. I mean, if you're listening to this now, I'm sure you already do, but follow us on Facebook, Taking Hugh for Granted, Twitter @TakingHugh, Instagram Taking Hugh for Granted again, and get in contact with us, takinghughforgranted@gmail.com. Otherwise, subscribe, follow, listen to this wherever you are right now, and give us a review. We'd love that.
Yeah, we haven't had a review in a while. I love more reviews.
Yeah, as long as they're 5 stars.
Yeah,
that'd be
don't
great.
bother if you're not rating us 5. Don't even bother.
Don't even bother. Don't even bother. Just think about doing something else. Just go and watch another Hugh Grant film. You'll feel a lot better after yourself. All right, wonderful. Oscar, for hopefully not the last time in a while.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, mate.
This is the end of Hughes News. We hope you feel very Hughes News about Hugh Grant. Hughes News. And everything is very Hughes News. And now it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Hughes News is a Taking Hugh for Granted production and is produced, edited and presented by Diggory Waite and Oscar Beardmore Gray. The producers of Taking Hugh for Granted would like to state that this podcast is in no way associated with the actor Hugh John Mungo Grant, nor does it endorse his views or represent him in any way. Instead, by creating this podcast, Oscar and Diggory hope to celebrate Hugh's illustrious career, reliving his old classics and shedding light on some of his hidden gems. Hugh, if you're listening, we hope you approve.